My brothers, you are the crystallization of a dream made true. My fellow advocates of Phi Nu Pi, you who hold your diamonds high. Your achievements now span a full century. Encouraged and commended you must be. And even if the night becomes dark, black as a pit from pole to pole, know down deep in your heart, you are the best hope for this world's soul. Honor thy father and raise his children. Follow teachings of the scroll and the secrets therein. With bountiful increase, always give more. Uphold peace till you reach that golden shore.
We were founded at Indiana University, one of the only African American fraternities and sororities founded on a predominantly white campus.
In 1911, the world was totally different.
You had Jim Crow, you had lynching.
Survival was not just survival in an academic sense, but it was survival for life.
In the year of our Lord, 1911, on the racially charged campus of Indiana University, 10 college men together formed a secret fraternal order.
We need a fraternity that can help us change some of these social conditions.
Led by one man, one dreamer, this band of brothers ignited a phenomenon that would one day reach every corner of the world.
They wanted to have an impact upon the social, political, and economic structure of the society.
Their story is rooted in the story of America, struggling during the Great Depression, fighting through the world wars, protesting for civil rights, and leading a nation in every field of human endeavor for 100 years.
There are many, many achievements.
Their story is one of toil, perseverance, and of achievement. The story of dreamers.
Great leaders take people where they ought to be as opposed to where they want to be.
The crystallization of a dream made true. This is the story of Kappa Alpha Psi.
Years later, one Kappa. You can't make it to second century Kappa with first century ideas. How many times it goes?
Entering its now 100th year of existence, Kappa is focused on building one Kappa under a banner of achievement with a refined focus on one of the fraternity's most rooted efforts. In fact, its oldest philanthropic effort of uplifting America's youth under the 90-year-old banner of Guide Right.
Where, for example, in New York, less than 30% of young black men graduate from public high school. We will have reversed that so that we have anywhere from 95 to 100% graduate. And that same thing would go throughout our urban cities across this nation. And that's where I see us in our second 100 year as a fraternity, making significant progress, especially with the young black males, because if we don't help them, nobody else will, because the jails now are already being marketed for them. They are targeted in the 3rd grade. They can tell you today whether or not that black boy is likely to end up in jail, and then they start planning for his admission. And that is something that we must eradicate as members of Kappa Alpha Psi and other fraternities, so that when we celebrate 200 years, we can look back at something like that and say, that was just a dream of the past. it is no more.
What Kappa is all about, most societies have those same values, those value systems. You know, this is nothing new. Achievement is nothing new. You know, that's what black folks have been trying to do for centuries. You know, and that's what I think just everyone wants your offspring to be better off than you were. The ideas of mentorship fall right into that same vein. So I don't think this is anything new. I think that what makes it different is that the founders of this organization sat down and put it to pen and paper and said, this is what we are about, and this is how we can go about doing it.
Guy Wright is the national service project at Kappa Psi, which is based upon youth development. And as I said earlier, that youth development is traditionally thought of as the Kappa Leaguers, which are high schoolers, but now the need is so great in our country that we now have Guy Wright that is extended to the elementary schools. And in some chapters in Mississippi, we have monies that are given to them so that they can help the families to understand sudden infant death syndrome. So now you can say that Guy Wright has now been extended from birth through high school.
Congratulations, Kappa for 100 years of your excellent service because of your support. We say yes to education. We say yes to dedication. We climb up to a higher station, a more serious motivation. We will make a positive impact on our nation.
Today I want you to not only remember the word achievement, I want you to remember the word desire. I want everyone to say desire. Desire. Do you know what desire is? No. Do you know what it really means? Well, let me tell you. Desire. Desire is a state of mind. The difference between where you are today and where you would like to be tomorrow.
Here in Chicago, we established our Kappa League program, and it's currently one of the most premier programs here in the area that deal with preparing minority disadvantaged males, specifically African American males, and matriculating them through the high school process and helping to ensure that they go on to college. We have a 100% placement rate in the last 7 years of placing every member of our Kappa League into a college, a four-year college of their choice, specifically their #1 choice, and 86% of them receiving a full tuition scholarship to their school. But we've structured our program so that we want to give our students a breadth of understanding of what the world is globally. Not only do we take them on annual college tours at least 4 times a year, specifically this year we took all 49 of our young men out to California to visit 9 prestigious universities throughout the Northern California area. We also send every student in our program overseas.
Who's going next, Panama or Costa Rica? Costa Rica. Make it happen.
So every young man in their rising senior year, we send 6 to 8 weeks overseas in a country of their choice. Last year, we sent students to Thailand, Auckland, New Zealand, Ghana, China, Italy, Spain. This year, we're sending students to Hungary and Costa Rica and Panama. Because we wanted them to understand that the world is global, and they need a global, broad dynamic of understanding leadership from every aspect.
Well, I initially joined Kappa League because I saw my friend. He was a grade higher than I was, and I saw how excellent of a young man that he was. He was always wear suits to school. He would always, have high grades and also balance schoolwork. And I'm like, where are you getting all this guidance from? Because he always kind of knew the right thing to do, the right academics, right classes to take, and I really wanted to be in whatever program he was in, because he was always telling us about the colleges that are looking at him, and I wanted to be in that program. And he gave me the email address, and he told me about the interview, and I put everything I had in that application, and I applied for it, and I was accepted, and I was probably one of the happiest days.
Well, you know, a lot's been said about Kappa's commitment to education, and of course we are committed to education. But we also know that there's another war going on out there, and that is a war that basically deals with the impact on children's health.
My experience at St. Jude has been revelatory for me. I'd heard about St. Jude across many years, but I'd never actually been on this campus. It is absolutely amazing what this hospital does for children, not only in terms of healing them and bringing them forward in their diseases, sickle cell cancer, but their psyche, the atmosphere, the positive attitude of all who are here, the patients, the doctors, the staff. Every person who works here has a very positive and upbeat and hopeful, I guess that's the key word, hopeful attitude. So I felt better. I thought I was going to be sad, and and seeing children especially with cancer and sickle cell and suffering from other diseases. But actually I was uplifted by the positive spirit that's here.
Founder Danny Thomas started the hospital in 1962. It was one of the only hospitals in the South that allowed African American patients, period. It also is the only hospital that didn't care about your ability to pay, whether you had it or not. So we looked at how can we possibly help? What kind of partnership can we form? Well, we sat down and we knew that one of the major avenues of raising funds in the African American community is, of course, the African American church. Well, there is the birth of the Sunday of Hope. We were charged early on with raising $500,000 in 5 years. Well, actually, we raised $500,000 in 2 years. And to date, 5 years later, we're at about $1.4 million.
As the Chief Development Officer for ALSAC, my role is to find new and emerging markets and ways to raise money. And I just had the great opportunity to talk to Mr. Murray, and we were talking about the fact that what the Kappas have done for us is open up a valuable and important channel of donations and passion. When Danny Thomas founded St. Jude, he said, "I would rather have 100 people give me $1 than one person give me $100. And that is the founding principle of St. Jude. We want as many people across the nation to support. And I want to thank you, Mr. Murray. I can't call you Brother Murray because I'm not a brother, right?
The world we live in is filled with tangible evidence of the magnificent creations not made by human hands. Each of us has been given the responsibility to preserve all that has been placed here at our disposal for the use and for the benefit of mankind. Each of us has been given the ability to dream of ways to use the resources of the world in ways that benefit humankind, even those who cannot do for themselves. It becomes our duty as Kappa men to transform our dreams into visions and our visions into benevolent blueprints that fashions a world where all can enjoy a reasonable quality of life. In every nation, there are dreamers, men and women who awaken from their sleep, remembering thoughts that transform their dreams to a vision to do good and to cause others to prosper. When we capture the reality of our dreams and move to make them plans for the future, we position ourselves to become dreamers. We are called dreamers, not because we dream, but because we use our dreams to fashion a vision that has made a difference in a troubled world. To that end, the crystallization of a dream came true, the birth of Kappa Alpha.